This world is dead. Or, at least it is right now. This is Minecraft Reclamation, a mod where you have to reclaim the world by bringing back life to it. In this challenge, I'm going to be surviving 100 days and hopefully reclaiming this world. Believe me, it is not easy. So sit back, relax, and please enjoy. Hi, and welcome. So this part had to be voiced over because for some reason my mic didn't record it. But anyway, this is just a little welcoming to you guys, and I'm really excited to try this out. So, let's get into it. Like any other mod, this one follows a quest line. So, what happened here? You wake up in a vast, dried out, and dead wasteland. You don't remember how you got there, but you do remember what it looked like. And this isn't it. That is the welcome to Reclamation. Anyway, we have this big quest line here that we have to do. And of course we have to get started, and also there's no real wood. Other than the dead logs. Anyway, we'll get to that. I started chopping down this dead tree here and got some wood. And now as you can see we have scrap wood. That's what actually comes from the wood, and you have to use it to make planks. Which is annoying, yes, but unfortunately that's how it works. Anyway, I made myself a crafting table. Why did I play twice? Oh, right, I forgot. I didn't make the crafting table the first time. I don't know why. It was really weird. Anyway, moving on. I made a wooden pickaxe and a wood axe, and then I immediately went to go mine some stone. And stone is important. This is me mining stone. Anyway, I immediately started making stone tools. Stone pick, and I would also make a stone axe. I don't know why I made a wood axe, honestly. I think I forgot stone existed. I thought it might be hard to obtain in this world or in this mod, but it wasn't. So, yeah. Ignore that. Oh, and I would also make a stone sword and a furnace. Those are both important. Next on the list was, getting copper, as you can see on the quest. Basically, you can find them in these little ruins and stuff, and then you scrape off the rust with an axe, and then you can use a cutting board with a pickaxe, and you get copper. After that, I explored a bit. I gathered some wood, a bit more wood. Then I also went and gathered some more copper, just stuff I needed. And then I actually made a cutting board, and I would, basically, do the thing with the axe where you take off the copper and then turned it into actual copper, because that's what you're supposed to do in this mod. Yeah. Anyway, next was to make a sal ammoniac. It could be found in the waters apparently, but I completely forgot about this and didn't do it for a little. But yeah, I don't know why actually. That's kind of weird. Anyway, more exploring. I found this small opened up kind of cave. It didn't lead to anything, but I decided to light it up and possibly use it as a temporary base. I had to plug up the water though. A bit annoying, but honestly, that's it. Anyway, yeah, so plugged up the water, lit up the cave, and then I would go to the very back and I'd start setting up. And I'd use this as my base. I finally started to look towards making the Salamoniac stuff. And then I found this lovely thing here. It says spiders have mutated into their venomous cave versions, which basically means there are no regular spiders, just cave spiders, which are the worst spiders ever. They are so annoying and I hate them so much. I saw that and was furious. I hate cave spiders. Anyway, made the Salamoniac tank, and then I'd also make the other thing. Still, cave spiders suck. Yeah, so made the other Salamoniac thing, and then I had to make even more stuff. And this would basically allow me to create dirt. I had to make alchemical sulfur. I think it was salt and mercury. I just had to make this laser thing. Anyway, I decided it'd be a bright idea to go outside, just check everything out. Sounds of the undead are quite lovely. Yeah, first monster. Of course, I beat him up, no problems at all, because I am obviously way too strong, and he obviously stood no chance. Anyway, yeah, I did a bit of just wanted to check out, and then I saw a spider, being a cave spider, and it hit me and poisoned me, which was horrible. And you can see how bad I am at fighting? This was embarrassing to be doing this to a spider. I was embarrassed. But anyway, yeah, I killed it and immediately went back into the cave because this was a horrible idea. I'm never doing it. Anyway, I won't bore with that. Basically, I made the pyromatic blazer thingy, and then I went to make some walls. So, well, nothing could get in. Because that would defeat the whole purpose of having a base. I messed this up twice. What in God's name is wrong with me? I finished up the wall just as day was starting to arrive, which was perfect, actually. Then I would have to go out because I needed stuff. And I'll tell you about that in just a moment. Once it was day, I went down to the river, and I had to get some sand and some clay, as you can see. This was so I could make, I believe it's called Caminite something? I don't know. Anyway, it's used to make a bucket, as you can see. Then I would go out and do a bit of exploring. I found some bones and stuff, you know, arrow, ash from a skeleton, because he died. Went to get some wood over here, and then also some copper, and then more wood. And then I found out this little thing here, which you can get charcoal from the dead logs, which is actually quite nice. I didn't know that, and that was actually really helpful. Anyway, more copper. Yeah, I got more copper, and then I saw this little house in the distance. I hadn't seen anything like it before, so I went over. There was a ruin next to it, so I got that copper block there, and then I tried to find a way inside. Going around, and entrance. Here we go. And the chest was good. 2 ender pearls, wood, iron, copper, gunpowder, ash, and an efficiency 4 iron pickaxe, which is incredible. I took everything because I did not want anything to go to waste, because, you know, that'd be really bad. But yeah, searched it up, and I was pretty happy with my haul. And then I saw there was like a little hole here, as you can see. Well, no, here. Sorry, first I took the door. Yeah, because I didn't want to make one. I was way too lazy. And then there was a little hole. I took the copper out of there because there's 2 copper blocks, which I think was also really nice. Just some more copper. Anyway, a bit more exploring. I did get like 1 more copper block that was like over there on that ruin. And then I would like immediately book it home. Yeah, just immediately book it. Oh, and I also took the chest because I was too lazy to make my own. Yeah. I'm so great at this. Anyway, sorted my stuff out because I had to do that because, well, my inventory was very full, and very full is not good. Not good at all. It's also so messy. Anyways, I moved my stuff back to the front because I didn't want it all to be there at the back. This was weird. And then I went fishing, as you can see. Because how I get a fishing rod, you ask? There's a quest that says fishing business or something, and it gives you a fishing rod. I got a cod, a nautilus shell, and then I saw the sun was going down and knew I would have to immediately book it back to the house after I caught one last thing. I did not want to be out when the sun was down. It is very bad. Yeah, so I got a shrimp, which was nice. And yeah, immediately booked it back. Like, I am not spending a single second outside with those horrible spiders. Never. After that, I immediately got back to work on, well, actually progressing. And I'm gonna skip this little part because it's kind of annoying to just watch it, because, like, it took me a little, like, few minutes, you know? It's kind of, like, boring to watch. So, anyway, here is me making this stuff, basically. A liquidation cauldron mercury distiller, and a calcination oven. Nice, I got them all. Then I immediately spent time trying to figure out how they work. I had to make like salts and mercury, and of course the like sulfur stuff. Anyway, I found out you could make, well, salt from clay and stone, which was, and sand, which was the only thing that I really had at that moment. So I decided to kind of just like start off with that, because, well, I mean, what else are you gonna do? I misplaced that. Anyway, yeah, put the sand in, then I had to get a bit of charcoal, and I put that in and immediately started it up, and then it started producing salts. And here we go. I have salt now, a chemical salt. Anyway, then I would have to remove that, put the mercury distiller on it, and then I would have to figure out how the mercury distiller worked. Which was fun as well. Not really, but yeah. Anyway, I had to figure that out. I'd also figure out the liquidation cauldron a bit later. And I actually have nothing else to say here, so I'm just gonna cut to that. I got completely distracted and, just did other things at that point. I was checking right here to see if it was still night. Anyways, I would had to make more stone because I had to make these things called incubators. And this was how I would actually be able to make the dirt. All the other stuff was just making the components of it. But the incubators were basically what would put it all together, like mix it all up, so I could actually make dirt. It is a complicated process. So as you can see here, I make one of the first incubators, which is the just incubator. That's like kind of the main thing. There's 3 others you have to make, like a salt one, mercury one, and a sulfur one. And you basically put them all and you attach the other incubators to the big one. And then you have it so it actually works. Also, at some point, I would make a bunch more of those pyro, like, thingies that, made it so I could actually use these machines, because, well, I needed them for basically everything, and, so I made a bunch at some point. You'll see that eventually. Yeah, but I made all the incubators, and basically all I had to do was get everything set up. All I had to do at that point, I believe, was to make the sulfur. And, well, once that was done, I would have dirt. Okay, so here, basically what I was going to do was I was going to make an infinite water source. Why? Because I needed water to actually make sal ammoniac, because I had not done any of that yet, and it was really important to make sulfur, which I had not made yet. So I actually did not make the 3rd incubator, and that was all a lie. I am so sorry. Anyway, this is just me making a bunch of sal ammoniac. I finally got a bucket of sal ammoniac, which honestly took me longer than it ever should have, and then I was finally able to make sulfur, or alchemic sulfur, which required dry earth and a bit of sal ammoniac, and this was the last component I would need to make dirt. And finally, we have dirt. Okay, anyway, I moved the incubator a little over. I also made another chest because I needed more storage. And I was doing this so I could, wait for night to finally end. And then once it was day, I had another goal. And that was to find seeds and make a farm. Now, okay, you are probably thinking, isn't this world supposed to be dead? How would you get seeds? Well, basically all you have to do is do the normal thing you do in vanilla, which is, well, break the little grass things. Anyway, I had to get a bunch of seeds, I think 6 different kinds. It took me forever to get this one called Snowbell. I don't know why. I really hated that though. But anyway, after that was done, I started clearing up some more room around my base because I needed room to make a farm. I decided to make another little entrance to my base. This one would be mainly for the farm. I then cleaned up a bit more of the area, and then I would actually, finally start building the farm. And here it is, the farm. I want to add the fun little music to make the time lapse a bit more enjoyable. Is that alright? Alright, If you could please let me know, that would be very helpful. Anyway, I started to plant some seeds, mainly wheat seeds and belladonna seeds. But of course, I only had, well, so much dirt. So I would have to go make even more. I finally made more dirt, which was quite the process. I also finally made those 3 extra, like, pyro thingies or whatever. I don't remember what they're called. Anyway, yeah, I was able to make more dirt so I could plant more stuff, and that is quite literally it. After that, I had to start using crop sticks. You see, in this harsh environment, well, crops basically became so much less more productive, both focusing entirely on survival, as it says here. But I can try to selectively breed them using the crop sticks, and by doing that, I can crossbreed them and basically start to make them better. Or at least how they were before. And let me tell you, I have spent a lot of time on doing that. It is crazy, but it is so worth it. Honestly, like it is so good. Believe me, the crossbreeding and the making like the plants, like basically upgrading their stats, was great. Like it would help me so much. While I was trying to figure all that out, phantoms had spawned because I was not able to sleep. My goodness, I hate phantoms. Phantoms. Oh my gosh, I hate them so much. I think I might hate them a bit more than cave spiders, although I'm not too sure. Tell me which one you hate more down below. Honestly, I hate them both. After ranting about phantoms, it was finally time to make iron. I would need, well, a fluid vessel, mandrake root, and I believe the purple liquid stuff that comes the salmoniac. Yeah. Once I had all that, I could make hemoglobin fluid. If you know, you know. After that, I went to gather a bunch of resources so I could make much more dirt. Why? Because I wanted to expand my farm a lot. Because my farm at this point was very small and pitiful. And I obviously cannot survive on just this. I was once again sidetracked as this is me basically starting to make the hemoglobin fluid. So you can see like the fluid vessel over there and the salmoniac stuff. I couldn't use the tank since because it could only hold salmoniac. So basically, you'd have to put the fluid vessel under the salmoniac accumulator, and then, as you can see, which is what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm just figuring out how to make the hemoglobin fluid. Yeah, so you put the salmoniac in there, then you put a mandrake root in there, and it's like bubbling, and you can see, and that makes hemoglobin fluid. I made my farm a bit bigger because, well, that was important, making more dirt. And then you can see here, I actually made another salmoniac accumulator, so I can make salmoniac and then have a separate one for the hemoglobin fluid. So I'm just making a lot of salmoniac, which is very important. Very. And if you could see right there, I was making a bunch more dirt. And also now you can see my farm has expanded a little bit. I've planted all the crops I have, the snowbell and the wolfsbane, and it's good, believe me. I would once again expand my farm a bit, and then I would finally look into the crossbreeding stuff. Because I wanted to have better food, so I thought maybe I could try crossbreeding a potato. And, well, to do that, I needed wolfsbane and wheat, which I did have. So you had to use the crop sticks. So you'd put the wheat seeds on one side, wolfsbane on the other, and then in the middle you have 2 crop sticks, and you leave that empty, and then you grow them, and hopefully you'll get a potato seed. Hopefully. Here I am placing on the crop sticks, so this is how it's supposed to look. 2 in the middle, 1 on each side, and I started to try to plant the seeds, but it just wasn't working for some reason. And then, yeah, I had to like mess around with that for a little, because it was just not working. It worked with the wheat seeds, but it just wasn't working with the wolfsbane for a bit. But then I did finally get it to work, eventually. It should eventually show it working. Trust, it'll totally work. 100%. See, look, it works now. I got it. That's all I kind of really wanted to say. I messed around a bit, made some bone meal from some of the bones I got earlier, and used them to, well, harvest the mandrake. Because I was focusing once again on making more of the hypoglemic fluid that I needed for iron, because that was obviously important, and that's what I should have been focusing on the whole time. I really need to stop getting sidetracked, but that is most likely not going to happen. Alright, here is me finally getting a bucket of hemoglobin fluid. All I would have to do for this is I could put it in the liquidation cauldron, and oh wait, no. Nope, okay, no, wait, it did say I can put it in there, but so I can make the iron alchemical salt with copper, which I didn't have much of. This is starting to get on my nerves. But anyway, I put that aside. I was able to make, 1 iron alchemic sulfur. 1. I could make more, but I only had like 4 copper left. And then I figured out I could make alchemical salt, which was the mineral ones from charcoal, which was good. And then all I had to do was make more mercury, and I could actually make iron. The quest is complete because I did find iron earlier. So, yeah. Also, that Enderman, he's my roommate. He kind of moved in unannounced, now he's just there. So he's going to be there for a little bit. You're just going to have to hear him talking. I really don't like him. Ignoring my roommate, I went to check on, the crop sticks. Unfortunately, it didn't give me any potatoes, but it did give me a mutivity level 2 wolfsbane. That's unfortunately all I really got. You have to do it a bunch of times to actually get good, stats. Believe me, it takes forever. Forever. Ignoring that, I was able to make myself a watering can. So a watering can is actually really good. You just fill it with water, go to your farm, and start using it. And it basically is like bone meal, but way better, and obviously, a bit cheaper, technically, overall. And it grows plants in a certain radius, so you can basically use it infinitely. At least that's what I've seen so far. It has not run out after the one time I filled it up. I did do some crossbreeding for a bit, but then I got bored of that and decided to finally make some anointing paste. This was so I could make, a witch's cauldron, which would be very important so I could actually make saplings. Real saplings. But of course, I didn't have enough iron for that, so then I'd have to make more iron. So I'm going to cut to that. And here we have it. I was able to make a cauldron, as you can see here. I basically just had to place it down, then anoint it, and then I'd have a witch's cauldron. And this was a very big step into reclaiming this world. I then had to actually figure out how to use the cauldron. I did not read the steps that said I had to fill it with a certain amount of water and do everything in a certain way. I messed it up the first time, and it basically turned into this brown liquid. That means you failed. So then you have to do it again. You also have to wait for it to boil. And I know this at this time, because I hadn't filled it up enough, because you have to fill it up 3 times, I only filled it up once. We're going to cut to when I actually know how to use it. I did eventually figure it out, how to make the mutinous. You had to put everything in a certain order, which I did not do the first time. You had to go belladonna, water artichoke, then bone meal. So that's what I did. I basically just did that, and then it would take a second to make these pretty particles, as you can see. You basically just do its thing, and then you had to right-click it, and you get, the finished product. Since I had finally made the mutantis, which honestly took me longer than it ever should have, I was able to go out, look for a dried bush, and then I just used it on it, and I got my first real sapling. I was unfortunately only able to get one other sapling, even though I had 3, because sometimes it takes multiple tries with the Mutantis to turn it into a sapling, which I did not know. I do now, though, and it was kind of annoying, if I'm going to be honest. Now, you're probably wondering, didn't you say you were never going to go outside during night again? Well, I lied. I need a bed. Urgently. Mainly because I don't have to deal with phantoms. And the only way to get a bed is to get wool, which I have to get string for, which I have to kill spiders for. So, unfortunately, I would have to go outside. So you can see here, there is a lot of mobs, a lot of husks, like a lot. Like, oh my goodness, there was way too many. So I basically had to try and run away, and then I heard phantoms spawning, and then I had to run all the way back to my base after literally getting bit by one. What is wrong with phantoms? I was eventually able to get all the string I needed to make a bed, but as you can see here, it was not easy. I am on half a heart from a spider. Oh my gosh. I was so close to death, and that is the closest I've gotten so far. So, I mean, if you want to see me almost die again, feel free to keep watching. Anyway, I was finally able to make a bed. As you can see right here, I just placed it down and finally got to sleep through the night. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy. I did a bit more farming and crossbreeding some plants, mainly wheat, and then I would go out and do some exploring because I needed more copper because I had none. I was able to get back home right as the sun was setting, and then I was going to scrape off all the rust from the copper so that I could actually use it. After that, I took a quick nap and then immediately chopped up all the copper to turn into copper ingots. And then I could make a bunch more iron, finally. And then here I decided to go out, try to water some trees, or not, I guess I was moving them. But I was going to water them a bit, because I wanted wood. Well, I needed it as well, so I had to try and water it. And it took a while, but it got there eventually. See? Believe me, I tried to water like a dark oak that you'll see, and it just did not work. Yeah, this actually didn't take a while. Why did I say that? I decided to do even more farming and crossbreeding for a while, but then I finally got back on task to make a witch's oven. Something that I would also like to mention is I found out I could make mercury from bread. And that would definitely be a bit easier than just mining stone, which I found kind of boring and annoying. So yeah, that was a cool find. Moving on, here I finally made the witch's oven. I had to make some iron bars first, and then put 5 iron ingots, and boom, witch's oven right here. This was very good, as this would be very important, of course. The next step was to make some brilliant fiber, so I had to start gathering stuff for that. First of which was hawthorn, and then I got sidetracked. I do actually quite like these saplings actually, so I think I'm gonna put some up here to make it a bit prettier. Don't worry, I did eventually get back on task. I need wood, right? Like something in there? Yeah, there we go. Well, it's really fast too. Nice. Isn't. Let's try this again. See, look, there we go, So it's a chance. Okay. Odor of purity, got it. Alright, and then I need string, wolfsbane. I know I have wolfsbane, but do I have string? I am not seeing a whiff of magic, so I need a rowan sapling. I actually think I do have one of those. Don't worry, I did have a rowan sapling. I planted it earlier, so. I did. Okay. Wait, but how many did I get? Okay, no, I have more. Okay. Come on. Yes! Alright. Next was to, well, get string. And as you already know, I hate the night. Maybe snowballs will get the spider's attention. Fun spawns. It might. Alright, I need a spider. Oh, I have more trees! Yes. Oh, that looks so much better. Alright, spider. Why are you so decked out, dude? Oh wait, no, this is a bad idea. Don't. Okay, maybe actually he'll drop some armor. No? Oh no, wait, he did. Oh. Lapis armor. Cool. Here, I finally found a spider. Alright, I got him. I got the string. Alright. And there's... Now you know why not. Okay. That's why. Ow. I'm dying again. Alright, back in, not dealing with that. After getting all the materials, I was finally able to make brilliant fiber. Alright. Ooh, okay. Okay, it's doing it. And there we have it. Nice. So, like, spread to other trees, I'm guessing. Okay. I can do that. Oh. Hey, this is my artificial forest that I made. Get out. After dealing with the intruder, I was able to use a brilliant fiber on the leaves, and that would make golden leaves. Gonna get this one. And then it needs to spread, so... I guess I have to wait for that. While I did wait for a while, eventually it did spread a decent amount so I could actually get one to complete the quest. And yeah, time equals brilliance. True. Alright. Now what do I do? Okay, I need golden powder. Oh, so you just... Alright. Nice. The next step I had to do was do a ritual of the forest, which was basically the last step in this chapter to make a pasture seed, which would actually bring back grass. Yeah. Finally, something else. My goodness. I unfortunately did not have enough of the golden leaves yet, so while waiting, I made more dirt and expanded my farm, which, yeah. I basically just do stuff while I wait. It's a good thing to do. Being productive. I had more dirt, so I decided to put some dirt out front to make it look a bit better, you know. Just make the area prettier. Okay, so I know it doesn't look that much better, but don't worry. It will once I get the pasture seed. Trust me. After a bit more waiting, I was able to get all the golden leaves I would need, including the extra ones for the little, like, wood pillars I would have to make. Right here. Yeah, wooden stand. This and the powder, along with some other stuff I would need, would allow me to conduct a ritual of the forest.
Now that I've got that, then I can do a ritual. So, I have to figure out how that works.
Don't worry, I figured it out pretty quickly since it literally gave me a structure to follow.
Alright, okay, now I have to... Okay, I need a pasture seed.
To get a pasture seed, I would need to use, well, the ritual place I just made. I'd have to have seeds, Breath of the Goddess, a hay bale, and I believe Hint of Rebirth. Oh, and a birch sapling.
Stuff. I do not have a birch
I did not have a birch sapling at that point.
Alright.
So since I did not have a birch sapling, I had to make basically a bunch more of the Mutantis, and then I went around trying to find dried bushes so that I could turn them into saplings with the Mutantis. I didn't have my mic on, but I literally said, "Give me birch, please," and it gave me birch. This is amazing. I'm so good at this. Now, luckily, I already had spruce, so I had to use a spruce, which would make the Hint of Rebirth. Didn't work that time, but I believe it will work this time. Yes, see, look, Hint of Rebirth. Next, I would need really just the Breath of the Goddess, which actually would take birch, so I needed more birch saplings. This actually took me forever. I am not joking. I did finally manage to get a Breath of the Goddess after, like, almost 20 tries, and I am not joking. This took me over 30 minutes in real life to do this. For one. I hate this so much. And here is me finally doing the ritual. I made all the wood things, the little stands, because I would need them later on, and it'd be important. Anyway, the watering can did not work on the sapling for the ritual for some reason. Apparently that is a glitch, so I would have to wait for this to actually do its thing. Here's me naively watering this, hoping it'll work. It did not. I did do a bit of farming in the meantime, but once I went to check on it, it actually just did it. It was just doing the thing. And I got there right on time. And then it finally dropped the pasture seed. And I could use this to finally make grass. And I got a bunch of bone meal too. You know, which was cool. I placed the pasture seed down and it spread. Like, the grass spread really quickly, actually. It was, like, so fast. I was not expecting that. And then I get to the next chapter, which is called Touching Grass. I did not need to be called out. Anyway, then I decided to kidnap the sun. Quite literally. After that, the next step was to make a natural altar. It's a multi-block structure that allows you to do rituals. And, you know, make cooler things. Very important. I did once again get distracted and made a pedal apothecary, which was part of the Botania mod, which is another thing I would also have to do. I did this along with making a pure daisy, which would be very important. And yeah, using the pure daisy, I was able to make living wood and living rock. Basically, you just place it down, put the blocks around it, and it'll turn it into, well, its living variant, which is what I would need to really get into the Botania mod. I would eventually, after forever, finally get back on task and actually build the natural altar multi-structure. I was doing so much random stuff, like, I wanted to make a nether portal at some point, then I was farming, then I was doing some other things. I get sidetracked very easily. That is not good. But anyway, here, you just get to watch me build this. Okay, a little update on the base. As you can see, I tried to make it look a bit better. I've got cherry blossom. The leaves all up front are all golden, which is really cool. Yeah, just that. I think it looks a whole lot better. Alright, after that, basically, I made another portal, as you can see. I just had a lava pool nearby, so I was able to do it, lit it up, and then I headed straight to the nether. Now, as well as the overworld, the nether is barren in this mod. There is no mobs, unfortunately. Actually, not unfortunately. And there's only one biome. But the good news is I can use the netherrack, which I can turn into nether bricks. You have to add brilliant fiber to it, and then you put it next to a pure daisy and you've got gold. So the whole reason you even come to nether is for gold, as far as I know so far. Putting it all around the daisy to turn into gold.
Will it work if I put it above it? Doesn't seem like it. First, we're gonna get this. Here we go. Okay, so we have 3 gold ingots.
All that work for just
That is
3.
not much.
After getting distracted again,
Put the gold away. Okay.
like, my goodness, I was doing a bunch of other things, like trying to make sugarcane, which is important, and I need that. Anyways, I made a mana spreader, which was very important, and a mana pool, which would basically contain the mana that the mana spreader would basically collect. It's a whole thing. Also, I was really going into the agriculture mod again. I did not get anywhere with this for a while, believe me. I don't know why. It's actually quite hard for some reason. Then I actually made an endo flame. This would actually generate the mana. There's a bunch of other flowers you can make as well that will help with this, but this is the early game thing. Anyway, I set up the area for making mana and made a wand of the forest. This is like a wrench. It allows me to like toggle the stuff and, well, use it. So, yeah. I then went to the natural altar so that I can make infused ingots. Basically, it takes all the aura from the surroundings and makes an infused ingot when you put the iron on the natural altar, which is something I needed to do for some reason, and I totally did not forget what I was doing right now. So, I was making the infused iron because I had to for a ritual. So this would allow me to make raw lead, which was basically the next step, but that was more for automation. So you just did that, and like any ritual forest, you have to wait for a long time. I then had a new task at hand, which was making a mana pearl. So I made 2 more endo flames so I could create more mana, and then all you gotta do is put an ender pearl, which I had gotten from earlier, into the mana pool, and it should give you a mana pearl. So see right here. I missed. See, there we go, mana pearl. And that makes... I forget the name of it. Alright, it's a runic altar. It basically allows you to do even more crazy stuff in the Botania mod. Yeah. Also, at this point I was trying to make a mana lens. I ended up really not using it, so I'm just kind of like skip over that part, because, well, and use it. Oh, and look, here we go. I was able to get to lead. You really have to keep an eye on that ritual thing, because it can just do it and it drops a thing, and if it despawns, oh my gosh. I think I would have cried. Alright, so this is me finally making the runic altar, which I said I would do, even though I didn't. I don't know why. Anyway, I like it. It's actually quite pretty. And it has like little particles. I think it's really nice. And I also got these black lotus things. I still have no idea what those things do. Anyway, then I made some andesite alloy. And as of right now, I have not touched it. Because I don't know what else to do with it. I would also have to make more lead later on, because I really needed it, because I had used it all and I shouldn't have. next thing I believe to do is make these
That goes
ember things. That's a complicated process.
Ember ore. I need a lead plate.
At this point, I worked on two things. One was the fell pumpkin, and the second one at the same time was making the machines or things I would need to get amber.
Fell pumpkin.
That is what those things are for. So it's not making amber, it's getting amber.
Alright.
Alright, so I did a few things during this time. First thing I did was make an altar. This was another witchcraft thing that I had to make. And yeah, you just put all the blocks down and you do that, and it like I think collects energy or something. I think. Anyway, you're probably now wondering, what are you doing in a cave? You have no business being in a cave because there's no ores or anything. While that would be true in this mod, technically I have to be down here. I basically had to build a shaft all the way down because I had to get to bedrock. I was still working on the amber machines at this point, and basically you have to go all the way down the bedrock because that's where you get amber. This took me forever, and, you know, I really did not like being down here because of the mobs, but I made it work. Anyway, battled a skeleton and almost died, as you can see here, and then I would finally make it down to bedrock, and I dug out a small area that I could use for making amber. After that, I went back up and decided to work on getting an attuned stone, which I would need the altar for, and all that. That's where it comes into play. It basically gathers energy from surrounding plants, so trees and flowers, but there's no flowers up there, and it gives us power. Yeah. And I'd have to get a whiff of magic again, and that would be very, very fun. After that, I went and got myself a mana pearl, which is just putting a ender pearl into the mana, and a gold leaf, which I could use, along with the cauldron and the power from the altar, to make an attuned stone. Right after that, I would summon a blaze, using the fell pumpkin I had made into iron bars. Also, damn, that thing hits hard. Basically, I need blaze powder. I also need the attuned stone so I can make a spinning wheel, and then the blaze powder would, like, power it. Kind of like when you use a brewing stand. Then, after cutting down some of those magical trees from the enchanted mod, I was able to make a spinning wheel. The spinning wheel will allow me to make more brilliant fiber, faster, and a bit cheaper as well, which was very good. All you need is the icy needles, which you get from those snowflower things I forgot the name of, and bone needles, which you can make by putting bones and flint together in the crafting table. And that's really it. And then this, powered by the blaze powder, would make brilliant fiber, as you can see. I then once again got distracted and wanted to make a herbivorous thingy. I don't know, some sort of like magical thing. Also, this sound is gone right now from the game. I don't know why. I don't know how long this is going to last, so please bear with me. To make the weird herb magical block thing, I would need to make a token of joy. And to do that, I need to do a ritual involving all of that you can see, and basically that would give me a token of joy. Well, actually it gave me two, but yeah. Oh, a little thing I did here, I was able to upgrade my watering can after making inferium ingots and whatever that pink bone meal was. I got it from the quest. I did not make it, but yeah, better watering can. Thought I'd add that. Alright, so see that? That's an ancient sapling. That basically gives aura to the nature thing over there. Well, its leaves do. Basically, when it needs aura, the leaves will all crumble away slowly, and you get aura. No, this will not work for you. Do not try it. Finally, the tokens of joy were done. This took forever to work for some reason. Anyway, now that I had them, I had everything I needed to make the herb block thing. After whatever I was doing, I wanted to make an infusion altar. Basically, this would help me a lot in resource generation because, well, you can't get any ores. It would basically allow me to create seeds eventually that, well, that were ore seeds and others, but it would take a while to get to that because it's a complicated process, and I had to do a lot of other stuff first. Like, I have to actually get the ember stuff first as well, and it's a whole thing. After about 40 minutes of collecting resources, because the altar of infusion needed gold, 20 to be exact, this took a very long time. Anyway, I was finally able to make it, and this was a very important step into resource generation, which would be very important. After a bit of work, I was able to make elemental seeds, which was the next step in producing resources, along with the altar, of course. I was able to harvest the elemental seeds, and then I was finally able to basically make an upgraded version of the Inferium Essence, right here in the cauldron. And there we have it. Prudentium Essence, the next step to resource generation. Of course, now I can't really use this stuff until I make Dawnstone, which is a whole other thing. Now it was time to focus on Ember. So basically, even though I had already dug out an area, well, I just went down the cave, I didn't like it because it was too far away, so I decided to dig out my own area where I would put the Ember Boar. And yeah, I have this hammer thing. Yeah, it breaks 3x3, so it's pretty good. After that, I was able to get all the way down to bedrock and clear out a big area, where I could finally place down the Ember Boar. Now this took me a while, but the Ember Boar takes up a big space, as you can see. I did not know this. So, it took me forever to figure that out. But anyway, I was able to make it, and this is where I would be setting up all the stuff for Ember, and this, and the mod that has this, which I believe is called Ember Rekindled. Yeah, Ember's Rekindled, yeah. It's a cool mod, check it out. I then went back up to the surface to start making pipes, fluid pipes, item pipes, and all that stuff. This was so I could, well, get the Ember, and then basically transport it to other things so I could use it, because there was multiple ways I could use Ember. It's a whole process, and it was very, very fun, trust. Alright, at this point, what I was doing is, for a while, I basically just worked on getting resources. That being copper, which I was able to get from the Copperosa. I was finally able to make these. I'm sorry it took me so long. Also, I finally figured out how to plant them. I did not know for at least 20 days how to plant these things. We're not going to talk about that. After a bunch of resource gathering, I went back down to work with the Ember Boar. All you had to do, luckily, was just attach a pipe to it and a hopper, and put in the mechanical core, and then power it. And then I would mess with it a lot more, and oh my god, this would take me forever. Next was activating the Ember. So now that I had Ember, I had to make an Ember activator so that it would be turned basically into power or electricity. And then I have to make a bunch more stuff so I could actually use it, transport it to other things, and power other things. This was very important, and that's kind of all I have to say. After that, I would make a melter so I could melt down the ores, and I would also make a stamp machine. Alright, so now I'm here back down at the bottom of the earth because I have to set up the Ember activator and all that stuff. Oh my goodness. It did take me a little to figure it out, but I was eventually able to, so it's all good now. Alright, so after all that, I started expanding the area so I could set up all the machines and everything that I would need. This took me a while, but I got it done. Alright, so I once again got sidetracked and made more attuned stone so I could make a kettle and a distillery thing. I then spent I think an hour going back and forth, up and down, coming to the Amber place I made. Not Amber, Ember. And then going back up to get more resources. Because I needed them. Alright, you can probably already guess what's happening right now. I did once again get sidetracked. but this was actually an important thing. I needed to make a catalyst thing. I forget what it's called. Anyway, it'd be really important because I needed to make more stuff that I couldn't before without it. So, like, really needed it. Alright, I am once again back down here, and I was able to figure out how to use the ember and all this, and you can see this absolute mess that I have created. It's very hard to get around, and I need to fix this, but I'm probably not going to. Also, I made Dawnstone, okay? I needed it for the ritual, and I completely forgot about it, but I have Dawnstone, or at least I did have it. I'm going to show you what happened. Alright, I did not have my mic on at this point, so I'm going to recreate what I was feeling at that point. Where's the... As you can see, I was very angry, so I once again had to get everything that I needed, again, to make the catalyst again, because I had forgotten about it. I am not happy about this at all. While waiting for that, because those things take forever, I decided to start working on circle magic, or basically just getting the chalks for it. This was a pleasant use of my time. I messed up multiple times thinking I needed certain things when I didn't. I wasted a lot of time, but I still did it, so it's good. Alright, so there was 4 types of chalk I had to make, one of them being called nether chalk, and guess what I would need? Nether wart. Luckily, you can crossbreed the red mushrooms and the brown mushrooms to make it, but unfortunately, this took a very long time. Like, the mutivity wasn't even that bad, honestly. It took forever. I had eventually had to crossbreed it with a stronger mutivity thing because it was just taking so long. Yeah. Anyway, I did that for a little, and then the ritual finally worked, so I was able to finally get the catalyst. This took way longer than it should have. I am still so mad about the first time. Alright, so I was eventually able to get the netherwort, as you can see, and then I decided to spend my night fighting endermen. Yeah, that guy fell. Anyway, I needed 2 ender pearls. One for a mana pearl, because I needed a tuned stone, and one just ender pearl. Also, my god, those things hit hard. Anyway, I needed them because I decided instead of making another chalk, I would make it the otherware chalk, or whatever it's called. And that's kind of just what I did for the whole night. Almost died multiple times, actually. Alright, so, turns out I used the entombed stone instead for making a chalice. I had to go down to my ever machine to get the gold for it. I really need to figure out my damn timeline, because I am just everywhere. Alright, so I did get back on task, and I was working on making another chalk again. Or maybe the other... I think I was working on, like, all of them at once. I had to taint the gold using, the nature's altar. Also, look how pretty I am. I like this lapis chest plate. It was really funny how I just got it. Alright, see, look, tainted gold. That was one of the main ingredients I needed for the nether chalk. Alright, so I did make the otherworld chalk, and then I made the nether chalk, and then I started focusing on making my altar better. Basically, it collects power from the surroundings, the trees, the plants, the crops, everything. So, I spent a decent amount of time just filling up the area with a bunch of stuff to hopefully get more power for the altar. Alright, so I was able to basically level up the altar, giving a bunch more power, and I made the final chalk I needed, which was the golden chalk. And believe me, this is the heart of it, basically. That's basically what it says. It is the heart of the ritual. Without it, you can't do anything. Also, it only lasts, like, 3 times if you use it. It is so fragile. But hey, now I could summon a blaze. This was the main thing I needed to do, so then I could make an alchemy catalyst thing. Really important. So I got to work on making the blaze, made a fell pumpkin, and then I would make the fire runes that I needed. I would also need to make foul fumes and hint of rebirth, which I did do. And here I'm just clearing out the area because I need an area close to the altar to actually do it, because I need the altar power. And then I set up everything, and then I did the thing. And fought the blaze, and I killed it. And then I had everything I needed. I then immediately got to work on making everything I would need for the alchemy catalyst. And once I had everything, just go straight up to the crafting table and make it. Luckily there was no weird ritual thing involved. I actually would have crashed out if I needed that. Alright, so then the next step was to do more stuff with the Embers Rekindled mod. I had to make alchemy pedestals and stuff so I could do alchemy. And this would take me a while, but once I did it, it would allow me to do a lot more things. It was very important, and I'm glad I actually focused on it. So I made the exchange table, then I made the beam cannon, and then I get to experience my first death. But anyway, got back on task and made all 3 of the alchemy pedestals that I would need. Now that I had the alchemy setup, all I needed now was to make a offering table. But I would need multiple things for that. A token of joy, a token of fear, and the magical table thing that I forget the name of. But I would need all of it to make it. Now, luckily, I already had a token of joy and the magic thing I needed, but now I needed to make a token of fear. So you can see here, I just took some bottles and went to the Nether and bottled ghosts. So I needed this for a token of fear. I had no idea how to get this originally. It did not tell me, so I had to search it up, and that was very annoying, but I did eventually get it, and oh my gosh, why couldn't it have just told me? But hey, I got everything needed, and I set up the ritual. And now it would just take 1,000 years for it to work. I hate how long the ritual takes. I wish the watering can was not glitched, because oh my god, I had to wait forever. Also, a little thing I did during this time, I finally figured out how the alchemy catalyst worked. You had to place it under the mana pool, and then you could use it. And that's how I made a feather. And this was also, needed for the token of fear, so again, I lied that I had everything. I didn't. I'm sorry. Then I made what's known as a Spirit of Calling. I need this along with the offering table to complete the quest, so I'm guessing it's important. Then I got back to work doing some more alchemy stuff. I made what is called an aspectus. I needed 3 of these. Well, actually, more than that, and different kinds of them. I made a lead one, a dawnstone one, and a copper one, and an iron one, and a bunch of them, because I had to. Just needed it for the alchemy. Don't know why they had to make it more complicated, but here we are. Alright, so like an idiot, I wanted to get this done and done, but we can't do that. So I had to make archaic brick, because I needed to make a code breaker, which would allow me to use the alchemical waste that you get from your failed ones to see what was wrong and what was right. It's kind of annoying, if I'm going to be totally honest here. But I probably shouldn't have tried to get it done immediately. That's on me. Basically, the aspectus things you need, they have to be a certain order. So you can see here how that alchemical waste says that. Basically says they're all right, just in the wrong order. And the orange ones means, well, they're right. In right aspectus in the right order, which is very good. So basically that literally showed me I only had messed up one. Alright, and then here I had to make another token of fear because I had wasted mine like an idiot. I really need to do better. Oh, and down there I made a token of joy. Well, I made the ritual for it. So yeah, I just waited for a while, and it eventually happened. This took a very long time. I don't know why the rituals take so long. I'm still upset about like the fact that the watering can is glitched and how like, you can't do the ritual super fast because that's like annoying. Anyway, here is me. Okay, so this is a ritual I have to do in the steps to make what is called a feathery amalgamation. You heard that? I'll explain that later. And here is the tokens of joy finally being created, so that's good. And then here I finally, like just me ever, was able to make the offering table. With the achievement saying, "Yo God, you want this," which I mean is, yeah, that's just it. Honestly, I don't know why that made me kind of laugh. I don't know. It was funny, I think. Moving on. Alright, so after that, I started to focus on another part of it. Also, my golden chalk broke here, because it only lasted 3 times. Anyway, so basically what I was doing was trying to make a chicken egg, which I had to do with circle magic and a lot of other things. This was the final phase, but as I was waiting, I had gathered the stuff I needed for it. I just wanted to do the ritual thing real quick and get it done. It took me a while. I also had to make otherware chalk or whatever because mine broke when I was almost done. So that made it even worse. But other than that, that's kind of all I had to do. Alright, so doing a bunch more stuff while I waited, and as you can see, the ritual did actually do it, because you could see the thing laying right there. But, like an complete idiot, I totally just skipped past it, because I was looking around for Endermen, because I still needed them for, I needed their Ender Pearls for a bunch of stuff. And then I realized that the ritual was completed and that the thing was just laying there, so I had to head back and get it. So then I got a feather flesh amalgamation. It is quite literally what it is called. And then I need to make a bloody amalgamation, which basically you just put it in with a hemoglobin fluid and it, becomes a bloodied amalgamation. It's a weird thing. After making the bloodied amalgamation, I had to make the, I believe it was called a mana-infused amalgamation. Really just having fun with these names here. Yeah. That was basically the, last step, I think, into getting... Yeah, this was the last step before the circle magic, because then I had to make an infused amalgamation, and then I had to make a chicken egg. It was a lot. Now, for this ritual, along with summoning the blaze, which I did last time, I would also need the altar. So I would have to move it from all the way over there to all the way over there, because as you just saw, the magic circle is absolutely massive. I know exactly what you're thinking, don't even think about it. So as I've mentioned before, you have to put lots of plant life and stuff around the altar so it can get power. So I had to do that, moving a bunch of stuff over to the altar where I placed it near the magic circle so it all works. So I basically placed down a bunch of stuff, as you can see, and I'm just frantically watering it because I'm trying to get it all done. And it is... Alright, something I completely forgot to mention, I was in a rush because I was trying to get this all done before day 100. Of course, that's the 100 days. I know I haven't been exactly on top of the whole days thing. Anyway, just as I was finishing up, some visitors appeared, but I was almost done, and I did not want to deal with those guys at all. I absolutely hate them. Yeah, they can all go go away, because I just want to do this and get it done. Alright, here I was, day 100, ready to get this part of the ritual done and hopefully summon a chicken. Why is it not? Oh, come on. Don't do this to me. Oh, God damn it!